Modders have just added in what is functionally Mothership Zeta as a mini DLC you could download right now for Fallout 4. This coming from the larger Fallout 3 remake mod project, who have also released other mods for you to download right now. And even beyond all of that, I'm going to show you some of the other pretty revolutionary new mods coming to Fallout 4 right now, adding in new features or new experiences to have, and even a peek at what is inevitably going to be the future of Fallout modding. And a bit towards the end with this video, I want to talk about how Fallout 4 mods on this channel are going to be changing and even potentially slowing or coming to an end. But before we get into that, I have to tell you about something pretty special. The mobile game that has been single-handedly helping this channel fend off demonetization for literal years now just turned 3 years old, and that's of course today's video sponsor with Raid Shadow Legends. And you should download Raid, so use my QR code or the links down below to download Raid for yourself right now on your mobile phone or PC. The crazy part about Raid is since release it has never slowed down. They've been constantly adding new heroes and even bosses to take on, whether it be the entire new faction with the Shadow Kin, or even one of the most recent bosses with the Hydra, where every head has a completely unique ability requiring a new and unique strategy. All of this coming together with the Doom Tower that has 120 levels of unique challenges. All of this is to say that Raid has something for everyone. 3 years in, they've added a ton of content and things are not slowing down. And my favorite part about Raid continues to be getting attached to some champions and building entire teams around them. Whether you love their design or their abilities, you take it into all kinds of different arenas, whether it be PvP or insane boss fights. And now the time's to get in. For the 3-year anniversary, Raid is kicking it off with free gifts for everyone. New champions and new artifact sets, but also special events and tournaments all month long. So there's really no reason to keep waiting. You can use my link down below or scan the QR code right here, and new players will get a free starter pack worth almost $40 to kickstart your game. 3 free champions with the Missouri Core, Tiger Soul, and Romero, 10 Magic XP Brew, 10 Force XP Brew, 10 Spirit XP Brew, and since it's Raid's birthday, there's even some extras, with special gifts for new and existing players worth over $25. Once in game, just enter the promo code 3YearsRaid to get your hands on everything. But starting things off, let's look at Project Zeta, which is the final release on the roadmap from the Fallout 3 remake mod, that known as the Capital Wasteland project. This is a pretty awesome mod. In effect, what it's going to be at its core is a couple of new weapons, a new companion, as well as a couple of new workshops, but all tied together with a really interesting and really compelling quest for you to go on. Like many great alien stories, you're going to have this small little dungeon for you to investigate in the Commonwealth. It is incredibly Fallout in that you go to a little store that has a hidden and top secret military installation underneath, upon which you'll discover they were clearly getting into some otherworldly things. After exploring this for a bit, you may be able to tinker with an item or two, and very quickly you're going to wake up in a completely foreign and mysterious place. And in effect, the way this model works is kind of just like Mothership Zeta, where from here you're going to be transported onto an alien spaceship and have to kind of fend your way off, actually get out of this. You're going to be freed by a allied alien, somebody who is rebelling against the rest of the Zetans, and is actually immediately available as your companion, and he's a pretty handy companion. He's pretty good in combat. The spaceship itself is beautifully laid out with a bunch of enemies all throughout that you will have to take down to ensure your escape. You'd find a bunch of capsules housing other people that were taken or really stolen from the Commonwealth, including a few of these actually being potentially not from the Commonwealth and being from space itself. As you do find a couple of astronauts on here, and you can take their spacesuits, which is a totally new armor added in by this. But the spaceship overall is definitely something to take in. As you're wandering around, you'll see there's a ton of custom objects created just for this experience that look absolutely phenomenal. It feels completely custom and unique in Fallout 4, but after going through this process and finishing out the quest, you're going to have a couple of different things. 2 completely new workshops, and these are pretty cool in that you get 1 new workshop on the spaceship itself, which of course is incredibly unique. You have a spaceship that you can build whatever you want in, and these remaining alien workers, after taking out their leader, will now work for you and will function as settlers on this spaceship as you want them to. But you also get access to a massive Mars world space, which also will be a settlement for you. This too will come with those custom alien workers. It looks phenomenal up here. It's basically a little bubble created by these aliens. You can actually see the bubble that you are housed in. You can find a crashed spaceship there, and in general, you'll be able to build all kinds of things, including many of those very unique and custom objects created for the alien spaceship are now going to be available as workshop items. And again, they look great. And if you want to put the time in, you could turn this into a fully functioning settlement. It really is a cool new area to explore and get to have for yourself. But even still, that's not all. This is also going to add in 3 new weapons, including a couple unique versions of those weapons. You have the familiar alien atomizer that you did have in Mothership Zeta. This is also added in by Fallout 4's Creation Club, but here you'll have it as a fully functional weapon. It looks great, as well as you do have a variety of customization options. But even further, you'll have the alien blaster, this being in the Fallout 3 style, and this too obviously looks really good. This one in particular had a great degree of nostalgia for me. And something that's going to be somewhat polarizing is this, as well as the alien atomizer, if you don't customize it, will actually use that original Fallout 3 zoom in, aim down sights. So when you aim down sights, you're not actually aiming down the sights of the weapon, but you're kind of zooming in your entire screen. I kind of liked it. It kind of made these weapons feel a bit more novel. You can modify the alien atomizer to not have this and just have a regular scope. But lastly, you also do have the alien shock baton, which is easily the simplest, but still looks great in game. But even that still isn't all, and this is one of my favorite features of this mod. Now you could actually get alien invasions. This new Zeta invasion mode will apply to your settlements as well as to Diamond City sometimes. So just like other settlement attacks, they can attack your settlements, but much cooler, they can raid Diamond City, and you'll have to potentially help Diamond City fend off an alien attack, which just feels really cool. This was described as being inspired somewhat by the Alien DLC for Fallout 76, and I like that this is one of the features they carried over. And there's even some new NPCs and enemies that are added in by this one that are pretty horrific. So overall, to me, I love this mod. I think it's really cool how they kind of tied this all together with a short quest and that abduction sequence, just like in Mothership Zeta and many other alien stories. It makes all of this feel a lot more special, and like you have a little adventure that you're going on, but you're left with some awesome rewards. The new workshops for sim settlements are just regular settlement building, but of course the companion, the spacesuit, that looks awesome, and these weapons definitely feel pretty special. This is a great finale to their entire roadmap, but speaking of the roadmap, one of the other recent releases that I particularly liked was the classic Unarmed Pack. What this will do is add in 5 of the weapons that did appear in both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas back into Fallout 4. And the way this mod is formatted is it'll have 5 of the original weapons just integrated into the level list. It'll pop up on vendors, other enemies, but of course also for you to use, but then 5 of their unique variants that appeared in those other games. And these look great. All of them are incredibly well detailed, very accurate representations of what we had in the past Fallout games, but definitely looking better for their Fallout 4 rendition. I particularly like this mod because I feel like we don't get a ton of unarmed weapons, especially nowadays with Fallout 4. These of course being lore friendly, but also occupying the level list is pretty nice. Even if you don't use these, you'll start seeing them pop up on other NPCs like gunners. But even further, there definitely is some nostalgia, especially with some of the unique variants. Using the 2-step goodbye again feels phenomenal. It's one of my favorite weapons from the earlier Fallout games, and I love having it back in Fallout 4. But then for a more revolutionary and forward-thinking mod, we have Climbable Ladders, which actually is kind of an awesome mod and incredibly handy. This has 2 major functions. On one hand, you'll be able to place down ladders now in workshop mode. So in your settlement, you're able to place a ladder on a building, and basically as you go up to the ladder, you can hit E on it and it'll teleport you to the top with a short cut to black. This is one of those things that I'm surprised hasn't existed on a larger scale already, because it is incredibly handy. Not having to build and lay out entire staircases to get up to higher elevations is really cool. And just makes things simpler. The other half of this mod is there's going to actually be a mobile ladder you could place down. You drop it from your inventory and it'll just be a smaller version of the ladder you can climb up. Still pretty handy, honestly, because from the top of the ladder you can kind of jump to things, making it fairly versatile in Fallout 4. So overall, an incredibly simple mod, but honestly one I would recommend downloading just because of the handiness. Keep it in the background and I bet you'll be surprised how often you find yourself relying on these things. Then we also do have Fallout Who Regenerated, which is a very interesting mod, and in particular going to be big for those who are a fan of Doctor Who. It's going to implement some quests where you're able to actually take control and really command Tardis. These are pretty extensive, and the actual interactions and functionality of this all is pretty extensive. The quests themselves are pretty interesting, but relatively simple and short. But Tardis overall has a lot going for it. On one hand, it is just a player home and workshop. You could actually build things here, as well as there's quite a bit to explore and find. But also there's going to be full-on ship command segments, as well as actually having the ability to enter into combat and how you respond to these situations. The command panel here is incredibly detailed. Probably one of the most detailed ship ship command panels I've ever seen in a Bethesda game, where there's a ton of functionality and you really feel like you are doing something. You have to be actively paying attention. Over time, you're able to upgrade things here, unlocking additional functionality. And although that one half of the mod is very interesting or cool, it also adds in additional functionality for you. You'll be able to get your very own sonic screwdriver, which gives you an easy way to get through terminals or locked doors. Honestly, incredibly handy, especially if you've played Fallout 4 enough where you're just sick and tired of the terminal game. I know I am. But even further, this mod offers you with several death alternatives. So upon death, you'll have a couple of additional options as to how you want to proceed instead of just loading the past save. This is a fun one, and I feel like it's a fun one to experience for yourself for the first time as you kind of get into what is newly added in. It's definitely very custom for Fallout 4 mods, and I probably would appreciate it a lot more if I knew literally anything about Doctor Who, which I don't, but what I do know is this power armor looks absolutely incredible. The Equalizer power armor is an armor for Fallout 76. It's clearly inspired by Frank Horgan, and more or less modders are adding it to Fallout 4. This inevitably is going to be a microtransaction or part of the battle pass for Fallout 76, but the power armor looks awesome, is based in Fallout lore, and looks absolutely phenomenal in Fallout 4. But speaking of recreating power armors from Fallout 76, we have to highlight the latest work by Newermind43. He's currently working on this very custom and unique looking Four Horsemen power armor, perhaps just the Horseman power armor. It looks cool. It definitely seems like it could have been inspired by the Four Horsemen power armors from Fallout 76, but this one honestly looks way better. But if you're interested less in power armor and more in weapons, we also do have the New Vegas light machine gun being recreated for Fallout 4 also. We have a couple of work in progress pictures of this one, and it is described how it is on its way soon. And honestly, I don't even have a ton to add to this one. It just looks phenomenal. New Vegas just had such better weapon design compared to Fallout 4, and this will make a really great addition to the game, which is surely lacking light machine guns by default. But speaking of New Vegas, we also do have the American 180, which is going to be the Silence 22 SMG from Fallout New Vegas. And naturally, it's being recreated and re-implemented into Fallout 4, and this looks absolutely phenomenal. This is what I love to see with Fallout 4 modding, especially when you're taking familiar or historical weapons. You have some of the basic customization options, the base version that we're familiar with, but then some skins, etc. But then a ton more to really take advantage of that Fallout 4 customization system, making it into more of a tactical weapon, and even just some more wacky add-ons. This looks really great. It's another one of my favorites from Fallout New Vegas, and just has a kind of interesting or cool design. With that said though, those are a look at some of the mods you could download right now and some of the mods that are on their way for Fallout 4. The Fallout 4 modding scene has been very active as of late, and I have a lot more content on this game coming. The way I see it, this is kind of the end in a way for Fallout 4 modding. Not that I think mods are going to stop coming out, but at least the domination it's had on this YouTube channel for the past 6 years. And about a month from now, we're going to get the full Starfield reveal, and there'll probably be just a trickle and flow of information after that leading till the game's release. But in particular, when Starfield comes out, and then we're going to make videos on that, and then Starfield mods, etc, etc, feels like Fallout 4 modding will inevitably take a backseat. I'll cover the biggest releases, but this summer and just really before Starfield, I have some really big videos looking at Fallout 4 and just how you could truly turn this game into something special with mods. Some of the biggest videos I've ever made on Fallout 4 modding. So if you're interested in any of that, you can get subscribed. With that said, as always again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.